And they do some surveys. One of the ones that is always cute to really realize is they ask people some questions. One, they say, for people who are married or who have boyfriends and girlfriends, they say, what was your husband or wife wearing yesterday? And they say guys. Now, guys are notoriously stupid for fashion. And they say, okay, you're married? Yes. You have a wife? Yeah. Okay, what was your wife wearing yesterday? And the guy, yesterday? Yeah. You saw your wife? Yeah. She wearing clothes? Most of the time. The younger ones say most of the time. The older ones say sure, all the time. But they ask, what was she wearing? They don't remember. Then they take women. The women are supposed to be fashion conscious and notice everything. Sorry, ladies, the women don't remember either. We remember what we wore yesterday, but we don't remember what our husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend wore yesterday. Now, the interesting thing is, and a correlation to this, Albert Einstein, who is a famous scientist, is famous for wearing the same clothing. He always changed clothes every day, but he wore the same style of clothes. I bought one of these shirts. I think I bought it in Hong Kong. Einstein would have bought 40 of the same, because every day he wore the same style clothes. And the reason he did is he calculated that the average woman spends 11 minutes a day deciding what to wear. And he said that's wasted time. In the course of a year, you could be thinking of great things. Well, if you spend 11 minutes today deciding what to wear and your boyfriend or husband doesn't remember, then maybe Einstein was right. But it also shows us we don't remember and see and notice a lot. And that's why advertising marketing today does less telling you about a product and just sort of getting your attention and saying Coca-Cola. Doesn't tell you to drink it, doesn't tell you about it, it just reminds you that it's there. It's like a Twitter SMS. Why? Because that is sort of the reality of the way we're going. The message has to be simple. Otherwise, people tune out and they say, I don't want to process this. I don't want to look at the 2,000 ads today. The other problem that we see today in the world is that we don't need what we buy. Really. They say that if you only went into a store and bought what you needed, the economy of any country would collapse. My wife sometimes, she tells me we're going shopping. I ask her stupidly, I say, what do we need? She says, nothing. I say, ooh, that's dangerous. Because when you need something, you go into the store, you look for it, you find it, maybe, and you buy it, and you go home. When you don't need anything, you look at everything. And what do you want? Everything. And what do you buy? A lot. And that's important. But we are buying things we don't need. Ladies, how many pairs of shoes do you own? How many do you need? I don't have one in blue. I don't have one with those heels. We don't need that much. There is a new film out. I know I saw it a couple of weeks ago. So I think the name of the film is Up in the Air. And it's about a guy who flies all the time. And one of the scenes of the film, he says, okay, imagine that you only have a backpack. That's all. You have nothing else, no other possessions. What can you put in it? Well, I don't have a backpack, but I basically live with 2 suitcases, or 1. And I found that we really don't need most of what we buy. Why do we buy things? Well, from a marketing point of view, you're buying happiness. Friday afternoon, you had a hard day at work. What are you going to do? Go shopping. And in effect, if we don't need what we buy, and we don't listen to the messages from the companies, then it's a mess. Then it's quite chaotic, which is fine. But from a marketing point of view, we have to understand that. Blind taste tests are done all the time. People can't find their products. They ask people who, let's say, drink beer. What beer do you drink? Heineken. Okay. Give the person 5 beers blindfolded, one of which is a Heineken. How many people can find it? 20%. Exactly random chance. Okay. So again, we're looking at a lot of confusion. You see many messages. You tune out almost all. In fact, many times you see an ad, and people will remember the ad, but they don't remember the product. They say, okay, a guy came out of his house, got into a car, driving, girl popped out of the back seat, was a wonderful ad. They remember it. Then you say, what is the product? No idea. Well, again, does that really work? What we're looking at today in marketing is this. Make it simple, keep it simple. An integrated message is one thing which is really important if the message on a global sense is understood, and most of the people are saying it's understood if it's really simple. A parody or a tie-in to education is, for almost every course in a university, you have a textbook. What's the job of the teacher? To simplify the textbook. To say, this is what's important, this is not. Because otherwise you don't need the teacher, you can just read the books. So basically we're talking also, the point of a marketing person today is to take all of that information and sort of simplify it. It's an interesting quote from Einstein. It's a nice duality, who said everything should be made as simple as possible, but of course not simpler. Why do ads who repeat? When you see an ad on television, you don't see it once, you see it 50 times. Why? That's a lot. People are happy actually to see an ad for the 2nd and 3rd and 10th time. Why? They don't really have to concentrate on it. The processing effort we talked about before is vastly reduced. This is an ad for Absolute Vodka, by the way. It's not an ad. It tells you nothing about the product. If you didn't know what Absolute was, this makes no sense to you. Yet this is a super successful campaign. And of course, in the campaign, you always have the Absolute bottle someplace. It gets your attention. Maybe you remember it. What's the difference between Absolute and any other vodka? People can't tell the difference. Yet if you ask people, okay, give me the name of a vodka, it used to be others. 40 years ago it was Smirnoff, today it's Absolute, etc. But they did some experiments also, not knocking Absolute. They took some really good vodka, changed bottles with a really horrible one. You know, Joe's vodka. Okay? So they changed bottles. You had Joe's vodka in the Absolute bottle and Absolute in Joe's bottle. So what did the people do? Of course they said, whoa, Absolute really good, Joe's really bad. But of course, they had switched them. People really don't know, so we go back again to confusion. Simplify. Simplify the position, simplify the image. Yet, what you are doing in marketing is you are always talking to somebody's emotions and to somebody's individual emotions. In effect, Marlboro did it. They were probably the most successful campaign in the history of modern advertising. When Marlboro began in 1964, it was designed as a woman's cigarette. It had no success. They changed agencies. They put it in Chicago out of New York. They positioned it as a man's cigarette, used the image of a cowboy. They ran unchanged for 40 some odd years. Same ad. But the ad was simple. It didn't tell you anything about the product. It didn't say this is less harmful, this has certain taste.